Hey guys, how are you doing? So next week we'll get back on our normal or like a more normal routine. So typically what I'm going to do is I'm going to post your warm-ups on Monday, and then I'll post a video on how to do them the following Monday. This week, just to go ahead and get everything out of the way for this week, I thought I'd post the video on Friday. So your warm-up this week, so number 21, it said we have a reflection across the x-axis, and it wants to know which one of these algebraic representations shows that. So remember, if we reflect it across the x-axis, your x stays the same. So I look here, x stays the same, x stays the same, does not stay the same, does not stay the same, and because we're reflecting, we're not moving it up, so my answer here would be A. Now another way to do this is that you need to, let me go ahead back and show this. So we had xy now becomes x negative y. So there. Now I know you don't have patty paper, you might not have patty paper at home, but what you can do is get a sheet of notebook paper, and if you push really hard, you can still make your axis, and then you can draw, your shape. So there's my axis, and here's my shape. And then if I'm reflecting across the x-axis, this is my x-axis, so then we have to flip it up. And you do have to kind of push really hard. That comes right about there. And then over here, you've got a point right about there, right about there. And then there and there. And there's our new shape. Boom, 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 boom. And you can always check with this point. So V originally was at 4, -1. V prime, which is going to be right there, is now at 4, +1. And we can see here x stayed the same and my y is now flipped. So that's how you do number 1. Number 22, I know you guys don't have your calculator at home, but what you can do is use the calculator that I've posted there on the Google Classroom. I do have one of our calculators here. So all you have to do is divide. So 37 divided by 6 as a decimal is going to be about 6.16. Oh, actually, I'm going to write it down here. So 6.16. Obviously, -5.17, -5.17. The square root of 33 is 5.74. And -26 divided by 5 is a -5.20. Now it says least to greatest, so we're going to start with the smallest. Now, because you don't want to owe somebody money, would you rather owe somebody $5.20 or $5.17? I know it's not that big of a difference, but you'd rather owe them less, so you'd rather owe them 17 cents, not 20 cents. So my smallest one is going to be the -26/5. So I'm going to go ahead and cross out anything that doesn't have that one as my smallest. My next smallest is obviously going to be my other negative. And then my next one is going to be 5.73, which was the square root of 33. So that one there. And then my largest is the 6.16. So my answer here is H. On Wednesday. So if you don't have your calculator, now before the break, I was going to teach all of you guys when we got back menu 3.1. And I'll show you that in a second. I know you don't have the calculator, but you can see how to work it there. So anytime you have a problem like this, you got to draw your line, box your variables. First, you want to take care of your boxes, get all your boxes to the same side. So 2 and 1. Obviously, 2 is bigger, so we get rid of our smaller box. So I'm going to subtract an x, and I'm left with x plus 3 equals -4. Now I got to get everything away from my box. So I subtract 3, same sign we add. Bigger number takes the sign. We get x equals -7. I don't have anything left in my box, so my answer is x equals -7. Now let's say you do have a calculator. you can come here and if you hit menu 3-1, you get this thing called NSolve. And then all you have to do is type in your equation. So 2x plus 3 equals x minus 4, and then you come here and you hit the comma x. Because that way you're telling the calculator what to solve for. You hit enter and you get -7. Good way to check your answer. All right, going to the back side. So an investor puts $2,500 into a life insurance policy, pays 8.5% simple interest. If there's no other investments, how much accumulated interest should the investor have after 10 years? So if we have simple interest, we go to our formula sheet, which I posted on the Google Drive or Google Classroom. So simple interest, interest equals principal times rate times time. So we have 2,500 times your interest rate, which is 0.085. Because remember, anytime you have a percent, all you have to do is move your decimal twice. So if you don't want to write it as a percent because you don't have one of these calculators, you write it as a decimal. So 8.5% is 12.085 as a decimal. So then we multiply that by the number of years, which in this case was 10, and we get our answer of $2,125. Now, if they had asked you how much was the total amount that you have after that, because we would have to add it back to the original amount. But this, it just wanted the interest. How much did the bank pay you? Not how much money did you have in your account. So snacks at a county fair are sold in containers shaped like a cone or a cylinder. So which statement is true? So we need to figure out what is the volume of the cone and what is the volume of the cylinder. So if you guys remember, volume of a cylinder, V equals big BH. Whereas a cone, V equals 1/3 big BH. Now, big B is your area of your base. And in both of these shapes, your base is a circle. And area of a circle is pi r squared. So my volume here is going to be pi r squared times h. And over here, my volume is going to be 1/3 pi r squared h. Now on both of these, they gave us that the radius is 4. Here the diameter is 8. Radius is 3. Diameter is 6. And here my height is 12. My height is 8. So now all I got to do is plug these into a calculator. You can always do 1/3 is 1 divided by 3, or as your last step, take your number and divide by 3. So I'm going to do control divide 1/3 times pi, which you can always substitute 3.14, and you'll get an answer that is at least close enough to what you would have gotten. 4 squared times the height, which is 12. So here, my volume is going to be 201.062. So about 201 inches cubed. On this other side over here, I'm going to do the same thing. So pi times my radius, which is 3 squared, times my height, which is 8, but we don't have the 1/3 this time because it's a cylinder, not a cone, and we get 226.195 inches cubed. So right off the bat, I can see that anything that, when we're comparing the two, the answers that have 377 are wrong. Now here it says the volume of the cylinder is greater than the volume of the cone. We found that to be true. The volume is less than the cone. That is not true. The cylinder had more. So even though it was a shorter, because it didn't come down to this point, the volume of the cylinder was greater. Now here. So which function can be used to find C, the total amount the coach pays for shirts? So we have a one-time fee. Anytime we have that one-time fee, that is my starting point. That is my y-intercept. So my y-intercept is 24. We have $4 for each shirt. Remember, anytime we're writing an equation from a word problem, we've got to remember to P first. Per, each, and every. And every time we see one of these words, we saw each, it gets the variable. So my slope is going to be 8. And we know y equals mx plus b. So 8 gets my variable. Now they tell us we want to use k. So my equation needs to be the cost is equal to 8 times k plus 24. We have that right there at G. All right, if you guys have any questions, I'll be posting more videos next week. Send me an email if you have any questions on these. Thanks, guys.